Hi everybody, it is me, Delusion Dispeller. Going to make a little bit of a backdrop here that's more pleasant to look at than my laundry hanging on the line. Sorry. I have what I have. That's how it is. What we deal with. Alright. My kitty cat's sitting here too, keeping me company. Okay, everybody. So, tonight I'm going to be sharing with you a fictitious group of 4 people whom are made up and whose lives were different and yet culminated in the same thing, which was NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. Now, I just washed my hair, so it's kind of funky. The part's all messed up. Whatever, it is what it is. And of course, the camera makes it look backwards from the way it really is anyway. All right, well, it's the real me tonight that you're getting in the raw. Welcome, whoever just came in. Good to see you. Let me get my notes ready. Alrighty. So, the 4 people, I am calling them King, Fawn, Tommy, and Country Diva. These are the 4 people we will meet and encounter and find out about them. Hey, Tawny. Good to see you. Were you over on YouTube? Hi, Sybil. Hey, welcome. All right, so as I said, there's 4 people I'm going to be talking about. Fictitious people, or are they? You can decide, because I'm sure all of you have met these people in some form or another. All right, so King was a genius at 9 years old. Probably one of the smartest 9-year-olds you ever would meet. In fact, his IQ was like in the 180, 90 range, which is very, very unusual for a boy that young. So King was greatly admired by everybody on the outside in public. The problem was, behind closed doors, King had a very, very abusive mother. I mean, so abusive that she would leave marks on King. And he didn't know how to cope with what they call cognitive dissonance of being adored out in public because he was so stinking smart, and then behind closed doors being beaten so badly and viciously by his mother, who was supposed to love him and take care of him and care for him. When what? Oh, just now on YouTube, there was somebody trying to come over here and didn't see me there, so they're like, well, I'll catch you on the next live, but I just hadn't been here yet, so I just wondered if that was you. All right. Anyways, so if it's not, that I'm sorry for the mistake, but yeah, I thought maybe she came over in a different name or something. All right, so he was like super smart on the outside, and everybody adored him and came to see him and hear him and just, you know, admired him so much and listened to him talk. I had a little cousin that was like that they're just like, oh, okay, Tawny. They just fawned over everything he said. You know, they're just so amazed. Oh, wow, did you hear what little Bobby said? And they would just like go nuts over it. Well, this was King's story. He just was very admired in public. He was everyone's little prince, in fact. And then later they called him King in public. I didn't give him an actual name. We just calling him King because that's what everybody saw him as a king. Kind of like Michael Jackson is the king of pop, and Elvis was the king of rock and roll. Well, King was just the king of intellect. He was super, super smart. And he was admired as like the highest in his country, his land, whatever you will, his city. I'm not sure where he came from. I didn't give him that information in my story. But everybody sought him out for his great wisdom and for his intellect. Now, he felt because of this, he always had to be on for the people, even when he just wanted to be a normal little kid. He always had to have all the answers. Hi, Boho. And he felt a lot of pressure to always perform and always be perfect and always know the right thing to say. Everybody wanted to know, wow, what does King have to say today? And they just hung on his every word, and it made him feel so special and so important, but so confused because as a 9-year-old little kid who was just adored by everybody and then going home and being abused, He didn't get it. I don't understand. These people adore me, yet my mom just hates me and resents me and calls me names and hurts me and beats me. It doesn't make sense to me. So like I said, he had some cognitive dissonance going on there, some confusion as to what was happening between the two sides of his world. Next, we're going to meet Tommy. Tommy was a child who grew up with parents who were always busy. He took care of himself and his little brother, but one day he was asked to join a very popular club, which he later became the leader of as he got older. It was well known in Tommy's community that he was the man in the know. Hi, John. And he was a comedian when the people needed to laugh. He knew how to perform and he knew how to make people comfortable. He was super wise and he could help people fix things in their home. He was like a handyman. He was just very, very brilliant. And he had many people who admired him and adored him. And it seemed to him that everyone wanted to be him, at least in his mind. Next, we meet Fawn. Fawn's mom also worked a lot, and her dad was in show business, but he was also addicted really badly to heroin. He got so abusive sometimes that Fawn's mom moved her to her grandmother's house when she was very little. When Mom and Fawn went home to Dad, he would calm down for a while with the heroin use. He would relax with the addictions and find other things to busy his time for a little while. But as any addict knows, sometimes that addiction just gets the better of you, or the worst of you in that case, and he began using again. Fawn couldn't go to her dad for anything. She really wanted the daddy that she saw all of her friends having. Good evening, Diane. And so she was sad and she was depressed and discouraged, but she couldn't make her dad love her. She still looked for the love from her dad, but he couldn't give it to her because his addiction took over his life. But one thing about Fawn, she was very amazed at how her dad performed under pressure. Her dad was one of the most amazing and heroic people she knew. She wanted to be just like him when she got older. And it was Fawn's mom that was actually the true hero, because she was out working and taking care of her and her alcoholic father, but she was an absent hero. She was leaving Fawn to pretty much raise herself. All right. Fourth person, Country Diva. Country Diva was raised by a mom who was very image-driven and focused. Her mom was very involved in women's lib groups and dragged Country Diva along with her to all the meetings, demanding that she never let him see you sweat, act like a lady, and do not embarrass me like you always do. Fawn always felt like she would never have her mom's love or please her. It was very scary to make Mom angry, so Fawn did all she could to keep being the perfect little girl, and this impressed Mom's friends and later others. As she became an adult, Fawn became a gifted singer, which she used to start a band, and that band sang in a local lounge as she got older. All right, we're going to tell you what happened to these four characters in our stories. Thank you, everybody, for coming in, for sure. I'm glad to see you here. Lots of different things happen to these characters, so we're going to go into a little bit more as things unfolded when these people grew up and how narcissism actually formed in each one of these lives. All right, first of all, Fawn, or sorry, not Fawn, my bad. Where am I here? Oh, King. King impressed people at a young age, like I told you. He was adored by people. So he was rewarded for his intelligence by people. And he basically was given offers to all kinds of things. He was offered to be a star on TV programs. He was offered to come and lead the local chapter of the up-and-coming men's club. Everybody wanted him to do something for them because they knew he was popular and they knew he was good at what he did, as narcissists usually are. They're not dumb people, they're very intelligent. So King was very much in demand. Country Diva actually told me, because these were people that I met, they're just different names and faces and stuff and identities, my husband will buy me anything I want. In fact, if a restaurant closes, and there's one in particular we're thinking about going to, If that restaurant is closed down for the night, they will literally open up their doors because they know what my favorite meal is. And they will bring that meal out to the car for me, whether that restaurant's closed down to the public or not. They'll bring it right out to me because they know that whatever I want, I need to have that. So no matter what I want, I get it because that's just how it is, because I am who I am. And all the people in my band know that I am the only one that really has the loudest microphone because we don't need to hear all of them. They're just kind of peons. They're second to me. I am the main singer. She always sang with the loudest voice, always. And she always stood up front, and nobody else was allowed to have microphones as loud as hers. So everybody knew that she was the leader. Country Diva loved that. It made her feel very important. King was adored by his so-called friends. Narcissists really don't have friends. They have fans. But he was adored by his fans, his acquaintances, yet he treated them all like they were his slaves. And he told me that every woman, as he walked by, would fall in his path and want him and be wanting to hook up with him. But I never saw this myself. It was just something that he told me. One time he actually tried to point it out to me and say, look at that woman over there. Do you see how that woman's looking at me? Don't you think she wants to hook up with me? And honestly, I looked at the woman and she wasn't even looking in King's direction. Was not even looking in the direction. So I wasn't sure what he was talking about. But in his mind, everybody wanted him, especially the women. Country Diva would get very, very upset if people did not like her clothes, her voice, her style, her song choice, or her as a person. She just could not handle anything that was contrary to what she wanted people to believe about herself. And the interesting thing about Country Diva was that I wasn't really sure Country Diva even believed in herself. But it seemed like she thought everybody else saw something that she was trying to portray, and it really wasn't even who she was. I wasn't even sure who she was, and I wasn't sure she knew who she was. King lived to impress people. He needed to escalate all the time and produce more and more people to watch him, people to be impressed with him, people to fall at his feet, people in his mind that wanted him and wanted to be like him and join his groups and be part of everything he was doing. Tommy, who I mentioned in the beginning, lived to impress people too. And he also needed to up the ante, so to speak, all the time. He would get very animated at his job, running the local library, and he even came close to being fired because he showed very little feeling towards his coworkers. In fact, he was heard telling everyone that he and he alone knew how that library should be run, and the owner of it was a nasty old man who was probably doing unseemly things behind the scenes and behind the bookshelves with the children that came in to get books. He seemed to tell a lot of these types of weird, wild tales just for attention, because he liked attention a lot. Country Diva had this habit of countryfying every song she sang, hence why I called her Country Diva. No matter what kind of style it was supposed to be, Country Diva would put that little twang on the end of it, and it was really odd sounding and uncomfortable to the people listening. She thought that it was her job to make everything her style, including when she joined a jazz band and kept on singing with her usual country style, and people hated it. In fact, the band almost died because of her. But instead of her taking ownership and saying, gosh, maybe that isn't the style I should be singing, maybe I should go back to what people enjoy and what always worked before, she whined to everybody she met and told them that people just didn't understand her unique talent nor appreciate her gifted music style. What was wrong with them anyway? These individuals, fictitious or not, were hive-minded. This might be a new term to some of you. Hold on, I need to increase my text so I can see everybody, in case anyone's typing or saying anything, which you're not. Okay. It's really, I'm having a hard time seeing the screen because, hold on, let me reset this. Maybe that'll make it bigger, hopefully. Oh, that's better. Okay. Sorry for the interruption there. Okay. Oh, where were we? Sorry. Oh, hive-minded, yeah. Okay, now King. King, his narcissism actually eventually led into psychopathy. He went from needing adoration for everything he was doing and attention to actually resenting the very people giving it to him. He looked down on the feeble folk who seemed to be a lost cause without his guidance. He pitied them, but he felt no real care or concern toward them. Tommy, well, with him, his audience was tripping over themselves to see him. His groupies would physically fight each other to make it from to the front row where he was performing. Tommy knew he had to come up with more and more songs to keep the band going and to stay on top of the others. The other bands, that is. Country Diva, her followers were her hive, and she was the queen bee that kept them buzzing, too. She still sang how she wanted to and began to tell people that she didn't give a rip what they wanted to hear. She was going to keep singing what the majority wanted and not the lowlives who probably only came to 1 or 2 concerts in a year anyways. King had an attitude of, I'm good and you're bad. Tommy had an attitude of, you are worthless, useless, monkey people. Fawn called everybody that followed her peeps. And Country Diva, well, she didn't have names for people. They weren't worth mentioning after all, nor referring to. She was too busy performing and bowing for the public in order to care for anybody else or what they thought of her. King was creative but ruthless towards those who didn't sing his praises. Tommy, he sings and he acts and he does all the things that people want him to do. Like the Bible said, we played the flute and you didn't dance. Well, Tommy's dancing for his public, dancing. And he was also doing suggestive things with his body, which people either hated or loved. And it was kind of uncomfortable to some people, the way that he was doing things in public. And he was a terrible example to his own children. But because he had some people that adored him, he didn't care. Country Diva is still singing in the band and putting harmonies together because she's a really talented person. And the fact is that even true narcissists have talents and gifts and are amazing, and that's why people are drawn to them to begin with. Fawn always acted like she had it all together, but when a lady came into her life and saw the truth, aka me, Fawn tried to trust her, but then sabotaged things the better their friendship got, to the point that Fawn actually pushed me, her new friend, away, her true friend away, and told her never to contact her again. I had often wondered if Fawn's issues were more borderline than narcissistic, because she did have that kind of I hate you, don't leave me mentality to begin with, but it's very hard to know because there's such a fine line between narcissism and borderline personality disorder. Moving right along, King idealized. He was idealized. He was idolized also as somebody very, very intelligent, like Einstein, or I don't know, who's the guy that made the Microsoft? I can never remember his name, but that guy. They thought he was wonderful, and people in the public, even though his family was abusive to him, they thought he was wonderful, and they sang his praises to the point of being almost like, I don't know, an idol or a god. And he ate it up on one hand, but was confused at the same time on the other hand. Hi, Edie. Oh, that's okay, Diane. I know you missed some of the story. That's all right. You can always go back and watch it later. It's kind of hard to go back once I get on a roll, you know, especially because it's kind of following a sort of pattern here, kind of. All right. Tommy didn't have parents, and as he got older, he realized just how absent those parents were. And he kind of learned that, after all, he was the only one who really ever had his back and who would watch over things in his surroundings and who really never let anybody in to have a true relationship with him because he didn't trust anybody. And he thought they would just hurt him and wound him. Though he eventually did get a girlfriend who insisted that he was too closed-minded and too closed off to ever really bond with in the right way. Which is why, when he proposed marriage to her, she refused. She didn't want a permanent hookup. She didn't trust that he'd always be there. He was more there for himself, or at least his false self, than for her. Country Diva was raised by who turned out to be a narcissistic mom, who I actually had the utter misfortune and horror of meeting in real life. And if looks could kill, this woman would have disintegrated me on the spot. She had never met me, and to my knowledge, didn't really know much about me. But the look of evil, I've said that many times, it's in the eyes. And you really can tell with people when you look in their eyes what they're all about. And Country Diva told me that she was never good enough to please her mother, and she felt like she never would amount to anything, just like her mother said. King had an attachment disorder, being that he didn't have people that were truly there for him and that abused him, especially his mom, for instance. And his dad really didn't do much because he was afraid of the mom. He was arrested in development. He was still like that spoiled, I guess, 13-year-old, even as an adult. You've probably met people like King. I know I have and continue to. Tommy had attachment problems with everybody. Attachment to his girlfriend? Nope, not really. Not a true attachment. More like she could do whatever he wanted her to do. But if she fell short, then he lashed out, blew up her phone, accused her of doing things behind his back, that kind of thing, that type of attachment. He also, friends, well, he didn't really have friends either. He had fans, just like a narcissist does, people that hung on his every word, people that he could use and abuse to his liking, and people that if they didn't do everything he wanted, he could get very vicious with and even smear them around town to everybody that would listen. Tommy didn't have a true attachment to anyone. No true attachment. Fawn. Well, as I said, Fawn's mom worked. Her dad was an alcoholic. She raised her own sister and raised herself. She was truly the child of an alcoholic, and as an adult became a narcissist. A narcissist that felt it was her job to find people, to fix people, and when she couldn't fix people, because you really can't fix anybody, became very angry and turned on the person and resented them and punished them for not being fixable by her. Country Diva, she wasn't close to anybody either in a healthy way. She wasn't close with her mom at all. And her dad, again, pleased the narcissistic mom. Her dad was very codependent and dependent. So she never saw a true healthy relationship. And that is the whole point of everything I'm saying. These people were brought up in unhealthy situations. They became unhealthy, toxic people. And they didn't know how to fix people around them. They didn't know how to fix themselves. And unfortunately, it's very hard to help them heal from these things. It's not impossible, but it's rare and it's very difficult. Narcissism, I have heard recently, and actually from Sam Vaknin, I'm going to give him the credit on this one because he said it. All narcissism is dissociative identity disorder, but with two personalities instead of many, such as dissociative or multiple personalities is many personalities. Dissociative identity disorder is the two personalities, the false self and the little child. Those are the true personalities of a narcissist. The false self of a narcissist is the host, the person that you meet, the person you befriend and feel close to, and the child is the true self that's been buried underneath. In my case, when I was with one of these people I mentioned, I was turned into the child and they became the punishing parent so that they can reenact their childhood and punish me like they felt punished. And I was an adult. I was in my 30s when it happened, so it was kind of odd. The DID host, or as we said, the false self, is the protector. In a DID non-narcissist, just somebody with the narcissistic personality disorder has their host. A dissociative identity person has their host. In the dissociative identity person, the host protects the child within and also protects the adult. And it usually guards or guides the other alter personalities. In an actual person with NPD, the host is the defender. The host is the person that when the narcissist is afraid that you're going to leave them or you're questioning them too much or you're making them uncomfortable by doubting what they're saying to you or not doing things their way, that is when that host personality that you see comes out and becomes very vicious, smears, devalues, discredits, replaces. That is the host personality of the narcissist. NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, an incredibly deep need for attention, like histrionic attention, and a chronic lack of empathy. And that is the false self in a nutshell. Grandiosity, self-importance, false self-importance, and insatiable attention need. They have to have attention. They thrive on attention. That is what we know as narcissistic supply. They can live without attention, but they cannot survive in an equilibrium status without that attention, if that makes sense. All right, so let's talk more about our 4 characters here. Let's talk about fear of intimacy. King got married, but he doesn't have an emotionally close relationship with his spouse. In fact, his spouse says it's like being with a robot and being married to somebody that's very cold and very mechanical. Tommy, well, you don't see her in pictures, or him in pictures, with his wife. There's no closeness observed between the two of them. He talks about his wife quite a bit, but you really never see what he's talking about, so it doesn't feel or seem real. Our next person, Fawn, told me that she used intimacy with her husband only if she got upset about something. If a friendship ended, if she lost her job, if she didn't get a job she wanted, then she would be intimate with her husband because it would comfort her. It was kind of like a pacifier, a binky, if you will. And she actually told me this in so many words. She also would have her husband buy her things anytime she was upset because that comforted her. He would go out and buy her whatever she wanted. You want a new pair of pajamas? Okay, honey, we'll go buy you those. I think she was stunted at a very young age, probably around 7, I would guess. Seemed like that. And most narcissists, well, not most, many narcissists are stunted around 7 years old, it seems, if they were in like the abusive type of situation. Other ones that were the star child or the golden child in the family, they could have been stunted at a little bit of an older age, maybe even like adolescent or young teenager possibly. It just depends. There's no one size fits all with this. Country Diva had marriage problems, but she fixed them along the way. In fact, she told everybody that she fixed them. She got on the microphone and told everybody she fixed the problems. But then I found out later that behind the scenes, they weren't really fixed. In fact, I'm not sure if Country Diva is still with her husband to this day because he wasn't faithful to her because he didn't like her and he got tired of being her scapegoat. Well, King will tell you that he definitely lacks empathy. He will tell you that himself, that he comes off as cold and unfeeling, and that people tell him he is like a rock. He has no emotions, and if he does, he doesn't show them, and they don't feel warm fuzzies when they're around him, or even any sense of connection with him. Tommy doesn't care if he hurts people's feelings. He'll publicly apologize to people to make it look like he's a good humanitarian and a good person, but he's truly not sorry ever for where he feels genuine sorrow for what he did hurting somebody. So he just says he's sorry as a matter of formality. Let's see. Who else are we missing here? We did Tommy. Fawn. I think I didn't say Fawn yet, right? Okay, Fawn publicly said that she was sorry, but she never was specific about what she was sorry for or what she did that hurt somebody. So people really wondered about her true contrition and sorrow. Crocodile tears would show up on Fawn, and she could turn them on and off, and they didn't seem genuine. People didn't trust it. Plus, she continued to do or say cutting things about people and to people. It never ended with Fawn. She just kept on. Different names, different faces, but kept on going in the same mannerisms she did before she apologized. Country Diva had no problem at all bad-mouthing me to people that she knew and I knew mutually, accusing me of things that I supposedly said or did, and then coldly cutting me off on social media when I tried to talk it over with her and actually try to make amends and try to fix things and repair a friendship. And that especially happened when I began to see through things and confronted her about them. One thing I will tell you in closing, when a narcissist tells you that people are jealous of them or that they want to be like them or that they admire what they have, or they want what they have, or just anything like that. The fact is, narcissists are actually jealous of other people, and because they're so insanely jealous and envious is more the word, because they are envious of other people, and they are extremely insecure people themselves, they actually believe that everything they feel about somebody is what that person also feels. It's called projection. It's the very thing that they are guilty of, putting it onto somebody else as if they're the ones that are actually doing it. Narcissists are known for doing this. So if you see a person that has all these things I listed in all these fictitious people, the grandiosity, need for self-importance, entitlement, lack of empathy, needing adoration, being histrionic and wanting attention, all eyes on them, having that hive-mindedness of having little peons to do their bidding, the I'm good, you're bad, all of this stuff, attachment disorders, possible dissociative disorders, these are all part of narcissistic personality, and these are not people you want to form tight, close friendships with. And it'll seem like you can at first, and then when you get up close and personal and start asking questions and start wondering about things and pointing out things, these people will turn on you like viperous snakes and vultures. So protect yourself. Learn the signs of narcissism in your relationships, and do not hang out with biting serpents. Pray for them. See if you can get them help, but it's really hard to get a narcissist help, because remember, they project everything onto everybody else. In their eyes, they are without flaws and without fault. Anyway, that is the end of my 4-character story. I hope it meant something, and I hope it came out okay, and that it was of interest. Trying to find things that I can talk about that will get people over here for my live videos, because obviously I can't go on YouTube right now. And I really do enjoy doing live videos if anybody wants to actually hear them and be part of them and talk together and discuss things together. But I'm not a one-man island or show or whatever. I would like to have everybody contribute. Hold on, I think I may be frozen. Just a minute. Computer's very slow tonight. Okay, I think we're good. Possibly. All right. So, what would y'all like to comment on tonight? Any comments? Am I here? I'm just waiting for someone to say something. Oh. Boho, I found it tricky to detect lack of empathy. They imitate it very well in the beginning. That is so true. They are very good imitators, and that's the key word, is that they imitate. They're great actors, and they are great mimics. Hi, Trisha. I think the key with detecting a lack of empathy, if they are the people that do try to pretend empathy, is the way they go about it. So I'm going to ask you a question, Boho. Can you give me an example? You don't have to give me a name or anything. Can you give me an example of a time that the narcissist, or somebody you thought had narcissism, showed that empathy, but you weren't quite sure? You know, it looked like empathy, but maybe it did look like an imitation. Give me an example that I can work with on this. I will be right back while you think of that. I'm going to put this plate in the sink. Oh, the cat has his claws in my pants here. He didn't want me to get up, I guess. I'll be back, buddy. I'll be back. What do you think of the fish, honey? It was really good. I liked it. I need to not eat the batter, though. I'm surprised Carmine hasn't gotten into it yet. I would. Okay, I'm back with my Carmine. I don't know how long he'll hang out with me. Anybody say anything? No? Nobody said anything. Okay, well, maybe you don't have an example. That's okay. But yes, narcissists are great imitators. I'm trying to think of maybe an example I can think of. Oh, somebody did say something. Talk about complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Oh boy. You asked me that the other day and I started talking about it. I don't have notes like at hand to talk about it. It's something that I will have to look up. I don't have this stuff like just in my head. I'm not that smart, unfortunately. Oh, being there for you, Boho? Yeah, well, they will be there because that's narcissistic supply source. So what you look at there is their motive for being there. It's kind of like somebody in my life that comes in. Sorry, Kermie's hair is like shedding. So I'm like eating it, not purposely. That's why people see me go like that all the time. It's not fun having cat hairs in your mouth. Um, so somebody comes over to your house and does something for you, and you're thinking, oh, that's so nice of them. Next thing you know, you're at some type of a dinner or something, and you overhear them telling everybody about how, oh, she's such a loser. She can't even fix her own sink. I got to go over there and do it all the time for her. You know, I pity her somewhat, but she really should have that good for nothing boyfriend take care of it for her. That's what I mean. That's the difference between somebody that is truly compassionate and cares about you versus someone that is a narcissist and has to play either the victim, she always calls on me and bugs me for stuff, or the hero. And I'm just such a wonderful person. I go over there and do it. I don't owe her anything. She's my ex. So why should I, go over there and help her? That's narcissistic. It's the motive behind it. Does that make sense, Boho? Give me some more examples. That was a really good example. But yeah, they do try to fool you. They make you think that they really care and they're in it for themselves. It's all about their false image and looking like the magnanimous, giving person and the good heart person that cares so much, and they're there when nobody else is there. They love telling you stories about them caring of others. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And not only that, not only stories of them caring for us, but they will tell you that, or at least this one did, I never leave anybody, Laura. I don't leave friendships or relationships. The other person is always the one to leave. I never leave a relationship. It's always them. And I learned really quickly, either I was the first one where she left first, or she was a lion. And she left lots of relationships and many more after me, I'm sure. So yeah, they make up tall tales to make themselves seem like this poor, persecuted, misunderstood person that always gets the short end of the stick, and nobody understands them, and nobody appreciates them and their uniqueness and their, wonderful thing that sets them apart from all the rest. And at first they'll tell you, wow, you understand me so well. You're unlike anybody else I ever met. You really get me, don't you? I don't know where you were all my life. I should have found you long before all those other losers. you know? The fact is, those other losers were people that genuinely might have cared for this person, who they chewed up, replaced, and discarded because they were done with them. Put them up on the shelf like some kind of used vase or something. That's how they operate, though. That's what they do. And actually, Sybil, CPTSD can be caused by narcissistic abuse, actually, because it's prolonged trauma over and over again, and it's intense. And people come away from narcissistic abuse with CPTSD, definitely. It's that feeling of disillusionment, like, what the heck just happened here? Did they seriously just spend 9 months with me and just dump me like they never even knew me and don't talk to me anymore, don't call me? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have their harem of fans, all right. They definitely do. They have people that live on their every word and hang on their every word. That's true. Until they're discarded. And then they usually go around telling other people to watch out for them. But, Boho, I bet you know that if you tell the new supply source, wow, don't trust them because they're going to do this, this, and this to you, that new supply source is not going to believe you yet until it happens. Not usually. They're not going to say, oh, gee, thank you for telling me that he's a big louse and that all this wonderful romance and these good feelings I'm feeling are just a big lie and that eventually he's going to move on to the next person and dump me. Thank you so much. I'll make sure I split up with him right now just because of what you told me. It does not work that way. People don't believe you. I didn't believe people when they warned me of what they saw with the people in my life, because I had formed friendships and relationships with these people, and I was their favorite lil friend, Lil, lil friend. And I liked being the favorite lil friend. I liked having that attention and that kind of mothering direction and guidance in my life because I didn't have a backbone. I was a perfect victim. I was miserable from the split off of my best friend of 3 years. And along came this new person who was going to help me heal. And I just bit the bait, jumped on in, hook, line, and sinker, and was just ready for this perfect relationship with this person that said they would never hurt me like the other person did. And yeah. And that's what I was expecting, was not to ever be hurt again. But you know what? That's kind of unrealistic. People are people and they're human and they're going to hurt you. They're going to say things that wound you. And you cannot find a perfect person. If you do, please let me know. I would love to meet them. I have yet to find one, and I am not one myself. What else? What else can we talk about or learn about together? Anybody? I don't even know who else in here. I know Boho is. I don't know if Sybil's still in here. Or John. We just got 3 in here, apparently. Well, everybody wants to see me live, so I'm live. Okay. Bye, Boho. Well, I guess if that's all, I guess I will close down and go do my dishes and head on to do something else. Anybody else have anything to say? I'll just wait a couple minutes here, a couple seconds. If not, then I can close. You're still here, Sybil. Okay, cool, Sybil. Why don't you ask me some questions and we can talk that way if you want. I don't anticipate a lot of people coming in anyway. Even though I advertised on Facebook, it doesn't seem to matter. People want, I mean, on YouTube. People want to be on YouTube and they want to see me on live on YouTube, and there's nothing I can do about it. So talk about a double bind. I'm willing to go live. I'm live on here, but nobody will come over here. I've had like maybe at most 10 people come in and go out. So it's kind of frustrating. I keep trying, but it's not really to any avail, apparently. So what shall we talk about, Sybil? Do you ever like to go on Zoom cam at all and talk there? We could go on and I can film it if you want. You don't even have to be on camera if you don't want. I've had people come on and not even be on the camera. Let me know. Because then we can save it and possibly upload it to YouTube. But I don't know if you want to be seen on YouTube or not. Some people don't like it. Just let me know since you're here and there's only you and one other person, I guess, here besides me, unless the two is including me. I'm not sure. I'm gonna assume you're typing something. Okay, it's almost 7 o'clock, so I'll wait till 7 to see if you say anything.